Hello and welcome back to a slightly unusual vlog, which is my curly hair styling routine. Woo! This has been requested so often across the years and I'm happy that I finally got to film it and that I'm getting to share this with you now, and I hope that it will be useful. So without much further ado, let's get straight into it. Starting off with freshly washed hair. I have already shampooed and conditioned my hair, but I haven't shown it. Just assume that we all know how to shampoo and condition. This is the shampoo I use by Aunt Jackie's, and this is the conditioner I use by Cantu. So after washing all of that out, I will then put in some leave-in conditioner, also by Cantu. I use roughly this much, kind of eyeball it depending on the length and amount of your hair, and also just see what works. It might be a bit of trial and error. So I just emulsify in both my hands and then I rake it into the ends of my hair, or the length of my hair. So I don't really put it on my scalp per se, and I'm just kind of detangling using my fingers. I've also already detangled while I was conditioning my hair, so there's not that many knots to go through right now. And also, just a heads up, try to have your hair dripping wet when you do this. My hair kept drying quite a lot in between all the shots and takes that we were taking, so just bear in mind that ideally you want your hair to be really, really wet when you're doing this. What I then do is just wring out the water using my hands, and I will tie my hair up into a bun using a scrunchie, just so that I can then towel the rest of my body and get dressed. So I don't actually use a towel on my hair at all. Any sort of microfiber towels, all of that just makes my hair really frizzy. So I found that this technique just works best for me. So I just tie it up, get it out of the way, and then I can get dressed and start my actual hair care routine. So start off by taking your hair out of that bun situation and part your hair wherever you want your hair parting to be. These days I've been trying out a middle parting. So yeah, just kind of split it into two, and one side we're going to tie back up into a loose bun because we're only going to be working with one side and then the other. Next, I use the Curlsmith Hydro Style Flexi Jelly gel. You can definitely also use a cream or foam, whatever works best for you. And I use around this much on each side of my hair. Again, this will depend on the day. Your hair might be in a different mood each time you wash it, so just kind of trial and error, see what works best. But I just, again, emulsify and rake into all of my hair, trying as best as possible to spread the product out evenly so that each strand is somewhat covered. And you can see that I'm actually topping up by a little bit after all. It wasn't quite enough because my hair was starting to dry up. And again, the more dripping wet your hair is during this process, the more frizz-free it will be when it's fully dry. And now we get to the interesting part, which is how I actually style my hair. And the technique that works best for me is called finger coiling, which is, as you can see, literally just coiling each strand of hair to eliminate frizz. And this method gives you such defined bouncy curls with minimal frizz. So I really, really like this method. So I start off at the bottom of my hair, and as you can see, the curls are looking really nice, and I just work my way all the way to the top. And I'm not too much of a perfectionist about this. As long as the frizz is eliminated, I'm quite happy, because my hair is very, very prone to frizz, and this method just leaves me with such definition, which I really like. So if you can see here, all of those little strands, once they are dry, all of that would have turned into frizz. So by combing through the hair with my fingers like so, it allows the curls to just stick together and just create really beautiful curls. So yeah, look at that. That would have been a horrendous amount of frizz, but doing this finger coiling method transforms it into this beautiful defined curl, which I really like. And this entire process, I know it looks a lot more time consuming than it actually is, but overall, I think it takes me around 15 minutes to do my whole hair, both sides. I'm just doing it at a much slower pace for the sake of the video, just so you can see exactly how I'm twirling each strand. This is me at full speed, so you can see it's much, much faster. And once you get used to the technique, it really won't take you that long to do. There are lots of methods out there, including the curly girl method, the bowl method, and plopping and whatnot, and I've tried so many of them, but I found that if you have really frizz prone hair like I do, this technique seems to be what works best. And I guess it's also a lot of personal preference about whether you want to have very defined curls or whether you prefer a bit more of a natural, a bit more of a messy look, which is also beautiful and works well for some people. But my hair, I just end up looking electrocuted. So that's why I just stick to this method. Once I hit the front of my hair, I take this section sort of backwards, and this is just to create a bit more volume, just so that my hair isn't falling flat against my face, and just coiling it backwards like so allows you to also just flip your hair onto either side in case you ever decide you want to have a side parting. After all, you don't always want it to just lie in that middle parting. So yeah, try to, when you hit the crown of your head, I guess, just try to do it backwards, and that creates, again, just a bit more volume and a fuller look. Once you've finished with your entire side of hair, you are going to very gently scrunch your hair, mainly just to get out any excess water, which you can see here dripping out. Just be very, very gentle, especially if you've got frizzy hair. I've seen people flipping their hair around and scrunching really aggressively, which I'm jealous if it works for them, but for me, I have to be super gentle, again, just to avoid any frizz. And on to the next side, we are going to do the exact same thing. So you can see here again the comparison. One side is still curly, but just quite frizzy, while the other is more defined. So again, taking the same amount of gel and raking it through the undone side of your hair. And you're gonna again start at the bottom and start coiling your way all the way to the top. And again, when you hit the pieces that frame your face, don't forget to curl them backwards rather than to the side. Once you're done scrunching, just wipe any excess product onto the top of your head, just in case any frizz has started to build up there. Just helps calm that down. And then technically you're done. You could definitely just let it air dry now. Otherwise, I tend to diffuse my hair when it's a bit colder, so I'll show you how I do that as well. Start by diffusing on a high heat but low airflow setting to minimize frizz. I typically like to focus on the inside roots of my hair first, also to minimize frizz forming on the top layer. And I like to switch between hot and cold air every few minutes. I'm not entirely sure what the physics behind this is, but it again helps prevent frizz. Another tip is to take breaks in between diffusing. So I'll diffuse for, let's say, 3 to 4 minutes, and then I'll go do something else for 10 minutes, and then I'll come back, diffuse again for a little bit, and then take a break again. I again can't really explain why, but my hair seems to really like this, and I've noticed that my hair gets more frizzy when I try to diffuse my whole hair in one sitting and try to dry it all at once. When your hair feels, let's say, 60% dry, try flipping your hair to one side and then to the other as well to create volume and ensure that your hair doesn't lie flat against your face. I find that this gives your hair a bit of a windswept, natural, fluffy look. So if you like that, then you might want to try doing that. And that's it, you're done. This is the finished look. Just kind of tousle your hair around. I like to stretch out the curls a little bit just in case they're feeling a bit crunchy from all the product. And also if there are any clumps of curls, just very gently tug them apart. You can see where the curl naturally wants to split, so I would just recommend that you tug accordingly. Don't force it to separate in ways that it doesn't want to, and this will again create a bit more volume. So I go through my entire hair just making sure that there are no tangles and clumps of curls. And now we are done. This is the final look. You can enjoy your super well-defined, shiny, bouncy curls while still maintaining volume. So I personally love this method. And I think a lot of people think that finger coiling is very time consuming, but as I said previously, just keep trying it a few times and you will master your technique, and it really doesn't take that long after all. And it just gives you such well-defined curls, and especially like if you need to go somewhere, just washing your hair on the day of that event will give you such luscious curls. And it's quite nice because so day one is super defined, and then as you sleep on your hair for day 2, 3, 4, the curls get a bit looser, less defined. So even if you prefer a bit more of a messy look, you will get that as well on days 3 and 4 and so on. So I find this method very low maintenance because it means you only have to style your hair the day that you wash it, and then you're kind of good to go for the rest of the days. Particularly for very frizz prone hair like mine, I really do recommend this method because I've truly tried everything else, including all forms of cotton t-shirts and microfiber towels and scrunching and all of that, and it's just created frizz on top of frizz. So I would be very curious to see whether this method works for you, and if it does, please let me know. Leave me a comment because I've never created a beauty tutorial video on YouTube before, and I was very nervous about creating this. So yeah, I would love to know whether this was helpful at all, whether any of you guys have mastered styling your curls. And yeah, one last thing I wanted to say was I truly hope all of us manage to step into our era of embracing our curls and just loving what we have naturally instead of feeling the need to straighten it or feeling like we have to fit into some sort of Western beauty concept. So yeah, do invest some time. I know that it's quite annoying and frustrating not knowing how to take care of your curls, but once you invest some time and figure out what actually works for you, what product, what techniques work for you, it will feel so rewarding, and you're going to feel so confident in yourself. And I really just want that for all of us. So here's to no longer straightening our hair for special occasions. Here's to saying no to aunties who tell you to comb your hair every day. And I hope to see you guys all rocking amazing curly hair. So please send me some photos. I don't know, just DM me. I would love to see. Also, let me know if you guys want any follow-up videos on hair care, tips and tricks, or do's and don'ts of curly hair. And I will also try to answer whatever questions you have in the comments. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.